always be in love with love.
I made out with a lot of girls in that truck.
I am feeling so old. This movie.
Yeah, so try it, everyone.
But when you leave, can you sneak me a drink?
Hi, and welcome to Close and Talk. I'm Tashdee Flo. I'm an entertainment reporter, and here on my channel, I take you guys a little bit behind the scenes of what's going on when I interview celebrities. Lately, I've been sharing a lot of my positive experiences with celebrities. I did one video with my favorite female stars. If you missed that, I will put a link below so you can watch that. And I also did a part 1 of my favorite male celebrities. This is part 2 of my favorite male celebrities. The reason why I have 2 parts with male is because I've interviewed so many more men than women, which is a wake-up call, or should be a wake-up call for Hollywood, because there's so many more men in movies than women. So when I present this list to you now, the order is just random, just remember that. And also, I don't know anything about these people in their personal life. I have to say that too. These are just my experiences when I met them, what they were like in interviews. So it's just my professional experience with them. So please keep that in mind. It's interesting, someone commented to say that, you know, do you think it is easier for women to interview men and the other way around? And I asked Magnus about that. If he thinks, my partner who's also an entertainment reporter, and I asked him if he thinks it's easier to interview women than men. And he said yes. So I think you're right. I think as a woman, it is maybe easier to interview a man and the other way around. I don't know why that is, but I do understand where you're coming from with that. That being said, there are a lot of really nice women out there. So cheers to all the amazing women that support other women. I just want to say that again. And just a reminder, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do that, and please hit the notification button so you don't miss an episode of Floss and Talk. Okay, so let's jump into it. I'm going to start off with a guy that I met before he was kind of famous. I think this is about 9 years ago. This movie was in 2015. It was called In the Heart of the Sea. And the big star in the movie was Chris Hemsworth. And his co-star was Tom Holland. I went to that junket and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to interview Chris Hemsworth because he was, you know, the big name of the movie. I hadn't planned it that well. And someone said to me, you know, he's going to play Spider-Man. And I was like, oh no, I didn't even know that. Bad research. And I walk into that room and I just realized, okay, this guy is going to be a big star. Just by talking to him, I'm like, okay, you got it. And he was so easy to talk to and so fun and, you know, so much energy and so enthusiastic. And when I met him later, I met him for Avengers, amongst others. And then he was the same guy, which I really like. You know, he hadn't changed.
I've just actually been going to my friend's new gym. It's like this EMS gym in London, and it's all sort of specialised electronic training. And I've just sort of been doing that out of curiosity, really.
What is electronic training?
It's like you wear these like pads and you do like exercises, but it sort of electrocutes you at the same time.
Oh, I tried that to make the muscle like...
Yeah, and it really does work. I tell you, I did it once and I didn't go to the toilet for 2 days. I couldn't sit down, I was in so much pain. It was awful.
And I think he's one of those guys, he kept his childhood friends, you know, even though he became such a big star. I asked him about it. I saw on his Instagram once that he had... His friends were trying on the Spider-Man costume when they were on a plane, and he talked about it. And I thought that was so sweet, you know, that you can still have fun with your friends, even though your friend is Spider-Man. You still have this cool, you know, friendship. And yeah, I think that's really nice.
I tried to put my brother in the Spider-Man costume, and it fit, but it was a bit baggy. And then I tried to put my friend in it, and we couldn't do it up because he was too big.
How many do you have at home then?
I don't have them at home. We were flying to somewhere on the press tour for Spider-Man 1. I was wearing this costume onto the plane for some reason. Wow. And it was because I came straight from a children's hospital. And we had to get to the next place. And they left me with the suit. So naturally, I was like, do you guys want to try it on? There's a video on my Instagram of them trying it on. It's really funny.
Oh. Okay, since we're talking about Chris Hemsworth, of course he's on the list. He is just a really, really nice guy. Never heard anyone say anything bad about him either. He is, first of all, so good looking. And I think for him to have that kind of image, I think a lot of people just keeps asking him about his muscles and his looks. And every time people ask about that, he gives a really nice answer. He's just polite and nice, just like a good example of, you know, a Hollywood star and how you can be a big star and still be really down to earth and nice.
I need it now.
You don't have anyone either, by the way.
I know, but what are they sitting there waiting to fly?
Yes.
Oh, they're not. How are you?
Good.
It's like fighting with my mum.
For me, just say your name and your outlet.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, another one of my favorites, Michael Douglas. Oh my God, I love him. It's hard to find anyone that takes these interviews more seriously than he does. I remember once I was in London interviewing him for Ant-Man, and he lost his mom the day before these interviews, and he still did them. They asked us not to talk about the passing of his mom, obviously, which I would never do. But that was like, but he's still there. You know, it says so much about him. And he's always so nice, and he's always like, you can ask him anything, whatever personal stuff, and he will talk about it. Sometimes he's been too open and personal, and it backfired on him. I remember a few years ago, he said some things that, yeah, really came back and bit him in the butt. And what I also love about him is his sense of humor. He doesn't take himself too seriously, it's the best trait I think you can have, especially in this industry.
I am feeling so old. This movie, it's just no, it's just everybody. I miss what the movie's about, but I realize, oh my, this is so old. I want to go home, go to bed.
Do you feel like you take things less seriously now?
Some things yes, and others are always the same, but yeah.
Yes, no, I take things much less seriously. Serious is when they tell you got cancer.
Yeah.
Cancer is serious. You know, then the rest of it is.
Okay, so this man passed away a few years ago. So I feel so lucky to have met him, Christopher Plummer. Oh my God, what a bundle of joy he was. I met him for one of the last movies he did, All the Money in the World, and he was such a pleasant surprise to me. He was so funny. He made me laugh so hard. I mean, just look at this. Do you remember your very first paycheck and what you spent it on?
I spent it on booze, like I do every other paycheck. We just boozed our way through the 50s with such pleasure, and nothing will ever top it.
Well, when you talk about it like that, do you kind of get nostalgic looking back? Do you look
I
back
get
a lot?
terribly thirsty when I talk about it. When you leave, can you sneak me a drink?
What do you prefer? Hard liquor or like softer?
I can't. I'm not allowed to drink hard liquor anymore. No, I drink wine, hopefully by the gallon.
Then there's a guy that I've only met once, but I just felt like he had the best energy about him. And I'm so happy to see that he's been so successful, because this is a while back. He was still hadn't made it big in Hollywood yet. Pedro Pascal. I know a lot of women really drool over him these days. And the thing is, he's not like a typically good-looking guy, but it's just because he's being so nice that that makes him so attractive.
Well,
Oh,
I
it's
know
so
it's
cold out there.
Yeah, is it cold out there or is it cold
Yeah.
in here? It's a little warm in here under
It's
the
a
lights.
little better in here.
Yeah, that
It's
light
gonna
will
get
warm
pretty
you up a
sticky
little bit.
probably after a while. Okay, this guy I fell in love with when he was a kid still. If you've seen Billy Elliot, you know what I'm talking about. Jamie Bell in that movie, I don't cry that often in movies, but that film, I watched it so many times. I think it's one of my favorites. So if you haven't watched Billy Elliot, And I've only met Jamie Bell once, and that was on a red carpet, and I had a horrible day at that red carpet. No one stopped to talk to me, and I was just like, and I thought, I'm gonna come home, I don't have anything, no one could be bothered to talk to me, but Jamie Bell did. And he gave me the best answer. I asked him about his most memorable Christmas as a child, and he stopped and he really put a lot of effort into telling this story. And I just I like him a lot. Can I ask you quickly your best childhood memory from Christmas?
Well, I I saw something under the bed and I opened it, and it was a PlayStation, and I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I opened it when I shouldn't have because it wasn't even Christmas yet. But I opened it very carefully, and I thought I put it all back correctly, tied all the wires back up, placed everything, but I've been playing it for hours. And my mum knew because she had intentionally put it in upside down. And then she said I wouldn't get it on Christmas Day, which for about an hour I didn't, and then she gave it to me. But don't sneak, don't look at your presents, because that's a massive, because I'm a parent now, and I really wanted that, and what a big blow for her. I feel bad about that still to do.
Okay, so next guy I've talked about here on my channel before. I did a special video about him because I loved his honesty about Hollywood, Sak Kaki. First of all, he's super funny, but then when you meet him, he can be very serious, and he's very opinionated, and I love that. I also met him once when he was just being super silly and funny with Isla Fisher. I showed that clip before. I'm gonna show it now so you know what I'm talking about.
So you never got laid.
Well, I got laid 3 times.
It was a family reunion.
I want to go to your dinner parties, you guys.
Oh, we would never go to dinner together.
Okay, so that's him being super silly, very funny and very inappropriate. And then I had other interviews with him when he was so serious. I feel like every time I meet him, it's not like an interview, it's more like we're having a conversation about something, which I think is great.
I think it's the biggest misconception of movie stars today. People have these ideas.
I think the faith that people put in Hollywood and all that, I think it's all bullshit. I think it's just gross. I mean, Hollywood's a weird town anyway. It brags about itself constantly. It's all it does is talk about how much money it makes. And it's a weird, I don't know, I don't agree with it. It's just the morals of Hollywood to me are, I don't get it.
Okay, this guy is so sweet. Oh, I just want to hug him. Robert Pattinson. I love that he has this kind of insecure energy about him, but he's like still like a little boy. And I just was so surprised when I met him because I thought he was going to be really closed off, but he's just like laughing. He's so giggly. I also met him at a party here once when he walked in and he was just wearing a hoodie and he looked like some random guy who just walked in from the street, and I was like, oh, that's Robert Pattinson. But he didn't really care what he looked like. I thought that was so cool. And I love the interview that I did with him. Yeah, I'll show you a little clip.
I'm an extremist, and so I'll eat nothing but pizzas for months. I mean, so by the time I have to diet, my body's like, oh, thank God, like, please, just only healthy stuff from now on.
So now you're just going to eat a lot of pizza before that?
Oh yeah, I've been doing it for months. I've been bulking.
Okay, so this guy used to be my neighbor. He used to live across the street, or actually I could look down into his garden from my terrace here. Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler is so charming and so funny and so outgoing. I mean, he used to have a lot of parties here. I was never invited, even though he told me he was going to invite me after I interviewed him, but he didn't. But it sounded like he just had so much fun. And I think he has a lot of fun in interviews too. When I told him that he was my neighbor, he got really embarrassed, I guess.
Yeah, but you got the blood in you. I tell you, I used to read a lot of the Viking sagas, and it was amazing. These men would go and fight, but when they came back, they were terrified of their women. The women were the bosses. That's the feeling.
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I've heard that lately, that the women were actually really hardcore back then.
And in Iceland, the women are bigger personalities than the guys.
I've never been, actually. By the way, I'm your neighbor.
What do you mean?
I think I looked out to your garden.
Which one? Because
in West Hollywood.
Wait, in where am I? Orlando?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I know what you're up to all the time.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. You have some good parties, though, I have to say.
Yeah.
One day.
Well, you're invited. Come to the next one.
I would love to.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll
Okay.
just come to the port on the other side then.
No,
I can look down
come
from
round.
there.
Come in. We have games nights. And
Oh, that would be lovely.
games nights are so much fun. Yeah, you're more than welcome.
And this guy. Oh my gosh, Henry Winkler. What a gem of a human being. What a nice guy. Oh my gosh. I came into that interview, had no expectations. He started showing me pictures of a fish that he just had fished. Can you say that? Yeah. Anyways, he showed me pictures on his phone. He's like, look at this. And then I asked him, I did some research on him, and I found out that he had turned down the role in Greece that went to John Travolta, and we talked about that and stuff. And then he was so excited that I'd done some research on him. So he came into the hospitality room afterwards, which is the room where all the journalists sit and wait for their turn to interview someone. And he's like, hey, you had amazing questions. Thank you so much. And I was like, oh, how nice is that? Oh my God. Thank you, Henry Winkler, though.
Yeah. In the summer?
Yes.
Okay. But I can't wait. I'm okay.
Wow. Oh, what is that?
See, I love to fish
That
for
looks
trout.
fake. Wow.
It does, doesn't it? But it's not. It's real.
Oh God, did you eat it?
Yeah. You know, I put them back.
Oh, that's good.
Because then maybe I can catch them next year. I love that your earrings go with your shirt.
And I love that you're green too. We like in
Thank
the
you.
yes.
Thank you.
We got all the green memory.
Yeah.
And then another Henry Golding. He has not been in the game for that long, and I actually met him for the first time for A Simple Favor, which was a movie with my not so favorite Blake Lively. I don't know, he was like, I got the feeling that he was like, how did I end up here? I have no idea why I'm sitting here. Why would I get this opportunity in life? He had that kind of, you know, so down to earth and so appreciative. And yeah, really nice to talk to, so easygoing. I met him again. I don't know how many years had passed. I think maybe it was later the same year. And he was like, oh, I remember you from A Simple Favor. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Henry Golding.
Talking about that, both of you guys had amazing careers. And I remember talking to you last time.
Yeah,
you were
and here in New York.
Yeah. Oh, you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
So you were talking about how people started recognizing you, and you were like, do I have
That
toilet
was the
paper
day,
in my pants
so
or
that
something?
was A Simple Favor.
Yeah.
And it was the weekend that Crazy Rich Asians
Uh-huh.
literally hit the cinemas.
Yeah.
And so the day after, it was like a Saturday or something. I literally went around the block, and there was just people just like look at something, and it was the first time that I actually noticed it.
Yeah.
And then one of the most sympathetic guys and one of my favorite actors, I would have to say, Mark Ruffalo. He is just nice. Always nice, funny, sweet. I only met him when he was paired with two other actors. One of them, Chadwick Boseman, who so sadly passed away a few years ago. But I was so lucky to meet him twice. Mark was so funny. We were talking about the costumes for the movie, and he was like laughing so hard about the suit that he had to wear, because this was for the Avengers movie, and he had to wear like a suit that was really like not very like flattering for his body, and he called it the man-canceling suit. Yeah, look at this.
I mean,
It is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It is
My
ridiculous.
fellow classmate. I walk
I-
out.
the
Everyone's
first
like,
the first.
Ruffalo has to wear that? What? Yeah.
No.
Say it, please.
I was like, I wonder, did he know that he was gonna have to wear that when he accepted this?
Do you want to see the stupid? I have a picture.
And throughout the interview, he was trying to find the picture of the suit when he was wearing to show it to me on his phone. So he was like, continued looking at his phone to show it to me, and he did find it at the end.
Didn't mean to take up all the time, okay?
Okay.
What?
Oh my God. Oh. And Chadwick Boseman was laughing so hard as well. And that's why I also wanted to mention him, because I met him for one of his, I think we could say it was his breakthrough movie, Get On Up, when he was playing James Brown. I love that film, and I think he didn't really get enough recognition for that film. But he was such a sweetheart, and it's so sad when people pass too early. Oh. So I'm so lucky that I got to meet him, and he talked about, you know, how he loved being an actor and he wasn't too interested in the fame part of things. But anyways, here's a little clip.
If you, like for me, if I didn't have to be famous and I could do the same roles, you know, I would rather not be famous.
You would?
Of course, yeah, of course, because you can be anonymous, you can watch people better, which allows you to play roles better because you're in touch with people, as opposed to like you have to separate yourself in order to live like normally.
So I talked about Sam Heughan before here on my channel. He's so sweet and he's so hot. My friends in Norway, we have this WhatsApp group, my girlfriends from childhood, and they were obsessed with him in Outlander, and they used to send me all these photos. And then I was going to interview him and they were like, oh my gosh. And he was amazing. And the thing is, he was so happy about the interview that he tweeted about it afterwards. He was like, check out my lovely interview with Kjersti Flå. I was like, oh, that never happened to me before. That was pretty nice.
It's always nice when people, you know, come up to you and sort of say how much they enjoy the show or the work you do. But yeah, it's always surprising as well. And it's normally when you least expect it.
Do you have to take a lot of selfies with people? That's like the new like autograph thing, right?
It's the new thing, I think, is selfies. Yeah, I don't mind it. It's okay. I mean, I much prefer when someone comes up and speaks to you. But you know, I think when I see a famous person, I sometimes get a little bit starstruck as well.
And then Antonio Banderas. Oh my God, what a charming man. I have to say, Melanie Griffith had really good taste in men. I spoke about Don Johnson in my previous video. And yeah, Antonio Banderas, oh, so sweet and funny. And, you know, his broken English just makes him even more charming, I think. And he's also one of those, you know, he has a sense of humor about himself. He doesn't take himself too seriously. And I think, as I said before, I think it's the best quality you can have.
He's jumping around a lot. How do you deal with that part of jobs these days?
The question is not taller. The real question is, how do you deal with this physicality at your 54? Yeah. That's what you want to say, right? Well, try just to run in the morning and do yoga and do things like that to keep myself in good shape to do this kind of... I have to recognize that I have been a very physical actor. I mean, it's not difficult for me. Kind of athletic, and so I can then incorporate that in some of the characters like this one.
Okay, so this guy also passed away when he was young, and I just wanted to have him on this list. I only met him once, but I had such a beautiful experience with him. Paul Walker. I met him in Rio. It was such an amazing experience going there because they shot the Fast and Furious film down there. So I went down there and I sat out on this beautiful terrace with him. And he spoke about when he went to Norway and he ate reindeer. And he was just so nice. And yeah, such a beautiful man. So sad.
Last question. Do you remember your first car? And what
Oh
was it?
yeah, I had a 1986 Ford Ranger. It was a pickup truck. Yeah, with a shell on the back and a carpet kit. It was good in high school. I made out with a lot of girls in that truck.
Great.
Yeah.
Then we have an Irish man from Northern Ireland, Jamie Dornan. Jamie Dornan is just like such a regular guy. And I remember first time I met him for the 50 Shades movies. Oh my God, everyone was just talking to him about the sex scenes and about his body and being good looking and all those things. And he would just sit there, you know, and keep answering the same questions. And I was like, oh, this guy is just so nice. And then he answers every stupid question so sincerely. He takes everything, you know, he takes you as a journalist seriously. And he's just very respectful and very nice. And like, you know, he's a real family man. He hasn't, the fame or all this stuff hasn't gotten to his head, and that's very noticeable.
So what is it like for you? You know, when you hear that people are screaming when you take your shirt off, do you get used to the idea of that?
No, I think it's you know, you've yeah. So a part, if you get used to that, then some part of you's died. I think. Hopefully, I would never become someone who thinks that that's a normal reaction to undressing.
And some of you asked me, isn't Keanu Reeves on your list? And yes, he is on my list. Keanu Reeves is such a sweet guy, but I have to say he's not the easiest to interview because I feel like he's very uncomfortable in the setting. He doesn't like being interviewed. I think it makes him a little nervous. And then when you sit in front of someone that you feel that they're a little nervous, it makes you nervous. So I tried my best always to make him relaxed. Sometimes it worked better than others. But all in all, he's such a good guy. You know, he's so down to earth and he's just he's not a bragger. He's the kind of guy that gives away a lot of money and gifts to friends and people he work with, and he's never, open about it. I remember I asked him once if it was true that he gave a Rolex to everyone on his stunt team or whatever, and he's like, no. He doesn't want to talk about those things. I think it's just a good role model for Hollywood where there's so many superficial people.
You were saying to her, I don't remember both of you, about I will wait for you thousands of years through thousands of
10,000
worlds.
lifetimes in 10,000 worlds until I find you.
Do you think people were more romantic back in the days than we are today?
That's in the past. I mean, there's certainly very rich traditions of romantic love, are we in a romantic time? I don't know. It's certainly. I think romance might go out of fashion, but it doesn't go out of flavor. No, I think, we'll always be in love with love. But in terms of its articulation, we don't have any romantic troubadours anymore, but there's certainly a lot of love songs out there.
Okay, so the last one, I'm not supposed to say, I think, because I think it's still cancelled after he slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, Will Smith. I mean, he was the best guy to interview always. He was such a professional and so, he's always willing to share, and he was just so nice and loud, and he had this energy that just filled the room. But unfortunately, he really messed up, so I'm not sure if I can have him on this list. Let me know what you think, if we should forgive him or if he should be cancelled forever. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind about it.
So I just have to say that you're always so positive and look so happy and have this energy about you that is very rare that you meet people like you. So are you always happy?
No,
or are you just hiding it?
It's funny. It's I think I look at the world through a lens of comedy, right? So my natural reaction is always, no matter when something happens, and I can't even help it, it's why is that funny? So even at a funeral, I can't help but think why that's funny.
Okay, Oscar's back, and you right, Oscar? Yes. He says hi to everyone, and thank you for all the sweet messages that he got. He's sending kisses again, and he helped me with this list, right, Oscar? Because you watched all my interviews too. And who's your favorite? Yeah, you did like Gerard Butler. You met him when he was walking his dogs, remember? Anyways, thanks for watching, and I see you in my next episode. And please let me know what you think about this one. And subscribe. Bye.
Oh my God, Magnus, I just realized I forgot to mention a great guy on my list, Hugh Grant. Oh my God, how could I forget? What do you think about Hugh Grant?
I love him. I think he's great. Always funny, always self-deprecating. He doesn't seem to think that what they do is brain surgery, so that's always refreshing, isn't it?
He taught you some Swedish, or he didn't teach you Swedish, but he
I
knows...
asked him what he knew in Swedish, because
Yeah.
he's married to a Swedish woman.
And what did he say?
He said basically only a few words. He said akta bajset, which means, in Swedish means watch out for the dog shit. I mean, watch out for the dog poop.
Poop. Did you hear that, Oscar?
Oscar is like looking the other way, like I'm not guilty.
He always picks up his poop.